Welcome to This Is Genius, where we break down the beats that broke barriers and the bars that built revolutions. Today we are diving into a song that transformed not just music, but an entire cultural consciousness. When James Brown declared "Say It Loud, I am black and I am proud" in 1968, he did more than make a hit, he made history move. In 1968, the word black was still considered derogatory. People used softer terms like colored or Negro, internalizing centuries of being told their identity was something to hide. Into this environment, James Brown dropped a cultural bomb with the lines "Alright, you are out of sight, alright, so tough, you are tough enough." These words might seem simple, but they carried the weight of generations. Out of sight was black vernacular for excellence, and by using it in a song about black pride, Brown was connecting cultural expression to cultural revolution. The genius begins with the production. Those horns hit like announcements from on high, while the drums carry the martial energy of the civil rights movement. Listen to how the horn section punches in with military precision, each blast a declaration of presence. The bass line does not just walk, it struts, creating a groove that demands both movement and attention. Every musical element reinforces the message, from the funk rhythm that demands movement to the call and response structure that reaches back to African traditions. Brown was not just writing a song, he was creating a complete cultural statement. That call and response element deserves deeper examination. Brown chose to have children respond "I am black and I am proud" throughout the song. This was revolutionary on multiple levels. First, it made the song impossible to ignore. Parents had to explain to their children why they were singing these words. Second, it literally trained the next generation to declare their pride. Third, it turned what could have been a simple song into an educational tool that worked on multiple levels. Fourth, it connected modern black pride to ancient African traditions of communal response. The production choices amplify every element of this approach. Notice how the horns drop out when the children respond, giving their voices space to fully inhabit the track. Listen to how the bass line stops walking and holds steady during these moments, creating a foundation for these young voices declaring their pride. The guitar chords scratch and punctuate like exclamation points. These are not accidents, this is genius at work. Each instrument in the arrangement plays a crucial role in building the message. The guitar work slices through the mix with choppy rhythm patterns that echo the cadence of protest chants. The drum patterns draw from both funk and martial traditions, creating a groove that feels both rebellious and disciplined. The horn arrangements borrow from big band jazz but deploy those sounds in service of a revolutionary message. This revolutionary approach to pride created a blueprint that artists would follow for decades. Run DMC built on this foundation in 1986 with "Proud to Be Black," where Brown had to establish the basic premise that blackness was something to celebrate. Run DMC could expand the conversation. From back in the day of old, kings and queens with stories untold, ancient mysteries unfold, black history is gold. The production evolution between these songs tells its own story. Brown's funk gave way to Run DMC's harder beats, but both used music to demand attention. Both understood that the message had to move bodies to move minds. Run DMC's faster delivery and more complex rhyme patterns showed how hip-hop could carry Brown's message into a new era. Their use of drum machines and samplers updated the sound while maintaining the militant precision of Brown's original. Every element of Run DMC's production reinforces their message. The drum programming hits with mechanical precision, suggesting unstoppable forward progress. The minimal arrangement leaves space for the complex wordplay to shine through. The use of rock guitar elements connects black pride to their signature breaking of musical barriers. They took Brown's blueprint and rebuilt it for a new generation. Lee Greenwood's "Proud to Be an American," released in 1984, creates an interesting counterpoint to these expressions of black pride. While not specifically about black identity, its message of complicated patriotism, "I am proud to be an American, where at least I know I am free," resonated across racial lines. The genius lies in that phrase "at least." Acknowledging both pride and awareness of America's unfulfilled promises is something black Americans who are simply Americans can identify with. The musical arrangement of Greenwood's song shows similar complexity. The soaring orchestration suggests traditional patriotic music while the contemporary production touches make it accessible to modern ears. Like Brown and Run DMC, Greenwood understood that the message had to be carried by music that could reach the widest possible audience. Returning to Brown's original declaration, let's examine the cultural context that made it so revolutionary. In 1968, the civil rights movement was at a crossroads. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been assassinated. Malcolm X was already gone. Many were questioning whether peaceful resistance could achieve meaningful change. The Black Panthers were rising. The Olympics that year would see black athletes raising fists in protest. Into this environment, Brown offered a third way: revolution through cultural pride. The line "you are out of sight, you are tough enough" gains additional power in this context. Brown was not just praising his audience, he was acknowledging the strength required to declare pride in a society that often punished such declarations. The repetition of "tough enough" serves as both encouragement and recognition of the weight his listeners carry. The ascending pitch of his delivery transforms these words from observation to affirmation. Brown's influence echoes through time. When Public Enemy declared "Fight the Power" in 1989, they were building on his foundation. When Tupac rapped about black pride in the 1990s, with tracks like "Changes," he was following Brown's path. When Beyoncé celebrated blackness at the Super Bowl in 2016, she was harvesting fruit from seeds Brown planted. Each artist added their own elements while maintaining the core message of pride and power. Even the business decisions around "Say It Loud" demonstrate Brown's comprehensive genius. He insisted that black musicians be credited for their contributions, rare at the time. He was showing pride not just in lyrics but in action, ensuring black artistry was acknowledged and compensated. This set a precedent for future artists taking control of their work and credit. The song's mixing deserves technical analysis. Notice how Brown's voice is placed slightly above the instruments, making every word clear without sacrificing the groove's power. Listen to how the backing vocals weave through the track, creating a sense of community support for the main declaration. The tape saturation adds warmth that makes the message more accessible. The slight distortion on the horns gives them an edge that cuts through any attempt to ignore them. Contemporary artists continue to build on Brown's foundation. Kendrick Lamar's "All Right" became an anthem for the anti-police brutality movement, its hook echoing Brown's message of resilience and pride. J. Cole's "Be Free" carries the same mixture of pain and power. Beyoncé's "Formation" updates the pride declaration for the social media age. Each artist adds their own perspective while staying true to the blueprint Brown created. The genius extends to the song's structure. Brown begins with personal declaration, moves to community affirmation, addresses specific grievances, and finally presents pride as the solution. This progression leads listeners through their own journey from recognition to pride. It's a masterclass in using song structure to reinforce message. Run DMC's "Proud to Be Black" represents the next evolution in this lineage. Their faster delivery and harder beat reflect the urgency of the 1980s, while their specific references to black history show how knowledge of black achievement had grown since Brown's time. They could name historical figures and achievements because Brown had created space for such pride to be expressed. The production techniques used in these songs show the evolution of black music itself. Brown's organic funk laid the foundation. Run DMC's digital precision showed how new technology could carry traditional messages. Contemporary artists blend both approaches, using digital tools to capture organic feeling. The music evolves while the message remains. The connection between these pride anthems and "Proud to Be an American" reveals interesting parallels about identity and patriotism. Greenwood's song celebrates American identity while acknowledging its complexities. This nuanced approach parallels how expressions of black pride evolved from Brown's revolutionary declaration to more complex celebrations that honor heritage while acknowledging ongoing struggles. This evolution continues in contemporary music. When Kendrick Lamar crafts complex narratives about black identity, or when Beyoncé weaves black cultural references into pop music, they can explore these themes with sophistication because Brown and others did the fundamental work of making black pride speakable, then acceptable, then expected. Brown's genius lay in understanding that pride had to precede progress. By teaching children to say "I am black and I am proud," he was investing in a future where such statements would be normal rather than revolutionary. The fact that we can trace this influence through decades of music proves the power of his insight. Every declaration of cultural pride, every celebration of heritage while acknowledging America's complexities, every ambitious fusion of identity and artistry, all of these trace their DNA back to Brown's revolutionary moment. He proved that pride is not just a feeling but a practice, one that must be taught, learned, and passed on. That simple line, "You are out of sight, you are tough enough," continues to resonate because the journey to pride is ongoing. Brown's genius was understanding that this message needed to be funky enough to dance to, bold enough to remember, and deep enough to sustain generations of artistic exploration. He created more than a song. He created a foundation for 50 years of musical evolution and cultural revelation. Keep digging into the tracks that move culture forward, and keep discovering the genius hiding in plain sight. If this breakdown spoke to you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and make sure to subscribe to This Is Genius. We have got so much more to say about the songs that changed the game and the artists who dared to speak truth to power. Until next time, keep it loud, keep it proud, and keep it genius.